Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. Alright, we're gonna finish this off now with the Mars. Now, we got Mars in Virgo now. Now, Mars in Virgo. Now, Virgo is actually mutable earth. Being mutable and being able to adapt to its own or other people's ways of thinking and being practical, which ultimately is coming up with common sense on a broad level. So when you got Mars here, this will be a person's intent, willpower, passion, motivations, and desires. They're passionately involved with staying on task, staying on schedule, practicalizing, making sense out of things. And a lot of times they can become aggressively nerve-wracking or aggressively nervous at times when things are not taken as planned or taking course as scheduled. So a lot of times Mars and Virgo also put all their passions and desires into work, or working on something that they're creatively into, or this their job in general. So keep that in mind also. Now, this can play out negatively in a way when a person could become so dedicated towards details or criticizing that nothing becomes right in their life. So the point that even the people that they're around can never please this person. So make sure you're not diving too far in those elements either, because you'll become unpleasable to the point that you don't even please yourself. And I don't want anybody to get into no realms of realities of feeling like they need to kill themselves. But Mars in Virgo likes to bring things in. See, any planet that's in an earth sign likes to bring things into this realm of reality. They like to make it real. So their thoughts, they like to make it real. Their feelings, they like to make it real. So that's what you need to know if you're not an earth sign. And if you're a person that got any planets that's in earth sign, that's in an earth sign, you need to know that's how that planet is planned out. It wants to bring whatever that planet is in this realm of reality in some way, shape, and form. So especially sun, moon, and ascendant earth signs correlate to that energy. Like, it has to be real. If it's not real, it really doesn't matter anyway. So when you talk about Mars, a lot of times the aggression, the competition becomes real. You know what I'm saying? The motivation, the desire becomes real, and that energy get placed into real things. So depending on the actual person and what kind of vibrational state they are in or whatever they're doing, that's how it's going to be played out. So if a person passionately into sports and they got Mars and Virgo, they're going to make that real. They're going to make that part of their life. They're going to work on it. They're going to feel like their life ain't perfect unless they accomplish that. And if it's a Mars in Virgo who may be a drug dealer or a street person or something like that, or it goes in many different realms of realities. They're going to feel like that's the way that they have to correlate how they reach their goals and things. Look at the details and criticize what they're actually going through. So keep that in mind. Now, so that's the only time it'll play out negative through a Virgo. But for the most part, yeah, this is a person who likes to take the broad ways of thinking and practicality and making it make sense and seeing how things work and seeing how other people get things working in their life and seeing how they can structure their life and things of that nature, and then they just dive into that. You know, a lot of times this could become all business, non-play also. Now, when we talk about Mars and Libra, now here's another motherfucker that Mars don't like. Now, Mars and Libra. So this is a person right here. Let's look at Libra in general. This is cardinal air, initiating and creating new ways of how to think and communicate. So off the bat, they like to relate, communicate, create balance. Mars, that's another sticky place for Mars. Now, even though it's air, Mars get to move a little fast. It's moving fast in a place it doesn't like to be at. It's moving fast when it's at school, or Mars moving fast when it's at church, or Mars. So they say you can't run around church. You know what I'm saying? Sit your ass down and listen to the motherfucking word or whatever like that. So that's like Mars being in Libra. It gotta relate to others. It gotta create balance. It gotta understand that there's others around. So anybody who got Mars in Libra, it plays out as a circumstance or a situation where you may like to align your intent, willpower, passions, and motivations with others. You may like to align your goals with others, or you may like to make yourself an asset to what others got going on in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of times teamwork makes the dream work. That's the positive of it. But the negative of it is a lot of times you end up always getting the short end of the stick because you never state your claim and what you create when you're doing that. You see what I'm saying? So you in a real sticky type of energy. This is where both of you guys have to learn from each other, and I'm speaking as polar opposites. This is where the Mars and Aries will have to learn from motherfucking Libra, and this is where Venus in Aries will have to learn from motherfucking Libra, and this is where Mars and Libra will have to learn from Aries. You see what I'm saying? So they can kind of balance each other out as far as on the scale. Okay, I got enough time. But for the most part, you know, talking about Mars, a lot of your intentions, motivations, and passions is going to be correlated on relationship, correlated on balance, correlated on making yourself a part of someone else's dreams, and you feeling like that's the natural thing you're supposed to go through and things of that nature. Now Mars hates to do that, because Mars, a lot of times, Mars ain't got time to sit back and try to relate and feel responsible and feel like they have to consider someone else's goals and consider someone else's desires and consider somebody else's passions and motivations before they go for theirs. And oh damn, I gotta make somebody else a part of my desires, I gotta make somebody else a part of my, you know what I'm saying? Mars ain't got time for that goddamn shit. So you know, a lot of times Mars got to do too much talking. See, Mars don't like to do a lot of talking. See, that's what I'm talking about. Mars don't like to do a lot of goddamn talking. So when Mars got to do a lot of goddamn talking, shit get haywire. Plans don't accord the way it was supposed to go, and then Mars end up feeling like, damn, if I would have just did the shit my goddamn self, it would have been done right. But I had to wait for this motherfucker, so we wasn't on time. I had to wait for this motherfucker. So you see what I'm saying? Mars get a headache here too. See, Mars get a headache in Taurus, Cancer, and Libra. Just get a headache sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But Mars will be okay. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be a positive to everything. The positive is you actually take your intent and passions and actually you correlate it towards the mental and communicating in your relationships. So a lot of times you don't have to stumble and fall and take as many actions as a person who naturally would if they just had Mars somewhere else, or Mars in Scorpio. Because a lot of times, just because a person is willing to take a lot of actions don't necessarily mean they're always taking the right actions. That just means they had a lot of energy to go through a lot of experiences, where this would make air signs a lot smarter because they're able to analyze and sit back and be like, okay, I don't need to do that, I don't need to do this. I know this person, or I can do this way, analyze this way, and get to the same place. Get from point A to point B just as fast, if not even faster. So that's another beneficial right here, how Mars kind of could correlate in Libra, because with Mars in Libra, it kind of cut out all the middle actions and all the experiences and just be like, damn, I could just do this and do that. So this would put them ahead of the game, but a lot of times this would make them gullible or too spontaneous a lot of time, or too freely or too opening towards others at times. So that's the gift and the curse. But it's a gift and a curse to everything. Now, when we want to talk about Mars and Scorpio, now it loves to be here. You see what I'm saying? This is home. This is actually home. So it's going to share a lot of energies the same way as motherfucking Aries, but in this case it's going to do it more in a feminine nature. So when I say feminine, I don't want y'all to get lost into male or female as far as the physical forms that y'all in, but as far as look at it like yang and yin, you know, was being pushed out or was being received. Was being pushed out would be the male, was being received would be the female. Frequency vibration was actually happening, not the physical forms. So when we talk about Mars being in Scorpio, this is why Mars loves being here. This is still home. This is the right brain side of the home of it. Well, the fire is still right brain, but you know, just the attribute of the yin, the yin version, what I meant to say, the dark attribute of the motherfucking energy it likes to be in. So it likes to go out and like I said, Mars is intent, willpower, passion, motivation, and desires. So it gets to go all out for its own emotions and feelings. So when we look at Scorpio, it's emotions and feelings. That's condensed water, froze water. But in this case, Mars help it transform. So it gets to transform the fixated state that it's in, so it gets to go all out without thinking about others. Mars likes to do that, for keyword, on its own, fixated on its own emotions and feelings. So it don't have to consider nobody else's emotions and feelings like Pisces. It don't have to sit around and have to control others and initiate and create new emotions and feelings for others, or create vibes like Cancers and create waves. No, it can be by itself, even if it has to close itself off and brood at times and get itself together. It's going to come to those terms and agreements. So to either it's going to come to the conclusion that I have to separate myself from people who are hindering me from my desires, or I have to use people who can help me get to my desires and passion. But either way, shape, and form, this is going to be my desire, and this is my desire, passions, and motivations that I'm going to go all out for without thinking about or considering anybody else. So Mars love being in that energy, you see what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's going to get all the sex it won't, it's going to get all the desires and passions it won't in Scorpio, with Mars being in Scorpio, and it's going to act first and think last. It's going to shoot first, ask questions later, you know? So that's the perfect motherfucking analogy for Mars being in motherfucking Scorpio. It's going to shoot first, ask questions later. And however horrible the questions that come about from whatever happened first, well, God damn it, we had to go through it first before before that got brought to the light. So that's how it's going to be. So a lot of times they like to keep things hidden. They like to keep their desires, their alternative motives, their intentions hidden. A lot of times, so they get kind of slithery. A lot of times it's hard to pinpoint their angle. It's kind of hard to know what they're up to. So a lot of times you can get cheated on by a motherfucking Mars and Scorpio. So be aware of that. But a lot of times, this carrying out this energy, this people like to keep their passions low key. These are people who like to stay down until they come up. They don't like to let everybody know what they got until they actually got it. You know what I'm saying? They don't let everybody know they actual goals and stuff, because that's a sense of vulnerability. So that's what they got in common with Aries. And then they're going to have a lot in common with with Capricorn also, because Mars is exalted in Capricorn, a form of status or wanting to be seen or be known for their desires and passions in some way, shape, or form. So keep that in mind also. So, you know, it could play out negative when you start to use others for your desires, passion, motivations, and you start to have alternative motives and other intentions to using people, places, and things. That's when it becomes negative. But it becomes positive when you use that for your own, you're transforming yourself. Get the desires, the passion to transform yourself to the point that you don't need any others, and you can just become an inspiration to the point that others will help you agreeably and openly, and you're not utilizing these people based upon your own selfish moments. But you know, all my Mars and Scorpios, y'all know what I'm talking about. Now my Mars and Sagittarius. Now Mars and Sagittarius. Now right here, this is mutable fire. Being mutable and being able to adapt to your own or other people's ways of dealing with the emotions and feelings. Now, for the most part, this is what you have to understand. Now, let me get some J real quick. Ooh. And I fucked that up too. It's dealing with other people's ways of seeing and feeling. Emotions and feelings is water. So when we talk about Sagittarius, that's fire. So, and it's mutable. So it's being mutable and being able to adapt to your own or other people's ways of seeing or feeling about the world that they are in. So that's going to correlate with visions, expressions, and fire and creativity and things of that nature. So that's, I'm just breaking it down to the most smallest minute. So when you talk about Mars being here, this becomes a person's intentions, a person's passions, motivations, to see how other people see things, how other people feel about things, and bring it to a broad perspective and bring it to a conclusion. So this makes a person passionately want to be wise on different outlooks of the world, or different viewpoints, or different expressions, different creativity. So this might be a person who play a lot of a person who got Mars and Sagittarius play a lot like the Sun and Mercury and Gemini. They're very curious. You see what I'm saying? They like to be the jack of all trades. They like to get into this and get into that and things of that nature and experience a lot, just so they can have a new way of seeing and feeling about things. And so they don't like to stay caged into one specific thing, because being in one job or being in one relationship or being in one concept or being in one religion or being in one idea is almost like a cage to the Mars and Sagittarius. So they create this, that's like a roadblockage. So they get aggressive towards those people, places, and things that take those shapes and forms, right? But it's positive because these people desire wisdom, desire knowledge, they desire to know, they desire to be around multiple people and different things and different cultures, and understand different lingues and different spiritualities, different concepts, different ideas, and things of that nature. So, you know, these people just have to make sure that they may aim too high with their goals though. So they may never attain their goals, and they become lifelong hippies. So they become a person who got all these extravagant adventure stories that never went anywhere. It was never an ending to these adventure stories. And then they could be like 90 years old with a big ass joint telling their grandkids about these adventure stories that kind of never stopped. The adventure story's still going on now, and you be like, damn, what, you ever reached the end of the rainbow? Well, how much pieces of gold was in the pot? And you still telling your grandkids like, damn, I never reached the pot of gold yet. I'm still on my way getting there. So it's like, goddamn, they ain't never gonna want to take that route. But for the most part, that's how Mars and Sagittarius will go. You'll go extremes into your bow and arrow shooting, you know what I'm saying, and you'll shoot for the stars, but you might shoot for certain stars that might be out of your reach. So your goals become a figment of your imagination, and then it becomes worse when you create certain philosophies around it on why you didn't obtain it, and you put meanings and reasonings why you didn't obtain it, like it's a good thing. So you need to don't get lost into that. A lot of preachers probably got Mars and Sagittarius and Pisces also. But for the most part, yeah, try not to get lost into any of those concepts. You can, but it's always a benefit because you're always willing to express your visions. And visions always play out into creativity. So creativity, you could be a creative actor, creative musician, creative preacher, creative deacon, creative business, whatever. Mars and Sagittarius is always going to play out creativity, and they're always going to have high aims. They just have to make sure their aims ain't too high. Now, with Mars and Capricorn, Mars loves to be here because it's exalted here. Now, anytime a planet is exalted somewhere, you have to make sure you don't overexhaust yourself in that area of life. You see what I'm saying? Now, Mars can overexhaust itself with its intentions, its alternative motives, its goals, its passions, its desires. So you always will come across the people as always having an alternative motive. But to the point that it's so exhausted that sometimes it can be perceived as good, but in other areas of life, dealing with other people, places, and things, it can be seen as negative. Like, damn, I can't stand this person. But you always going to be like, it is what it is with you. So with Mars being in Capricorn, right here, it's like, let's look at Capricorn. It's cardinal Earth, initiating and creating new ways of how to think and be practical. So off the back, it's trying to make sense, and it's trying to create some type of status in this life by making sense out of this realm of reality, which is the Earth realm. So with Mars loves to be here, other than the other two Earth signs, it's mainly Taurus. It really loves to be in Capricorn. It don't like to be in Taurus, but Capricorn, it loves to be here because it's able to be set up where it and be seen for its accomplishments. And when we look at accomplishments, you're only going to accomplish what? Your goals, your intentions, your motivations, your passions, your desires. So once you go through all those wars and accomplish that, right? In Capricorn, it gets to be seen, it gets to be known, it gets to have a status for that. It gets to be the structure for others to follow. It gets to be the patterns for others to follow and add on to. So this is what makes Mars. So Mars can get lost in that. It can overexhaust itself. It can end up trying to put all its actions and passions and motivations into some type of stability, in some type of business, in some type of, but like I said, when we talk about the Earth signs, they actually rule this realm of reality. So even though it may perceive that they do a lot of negative things when we talk about politics and business and banking, that's actually what formulates the structure in this realm of reality. So these are things that you would think you need in order to go forward, aka just to drive. You think you need to get a driver license, right? Just okay, to save money in a bank, you got to get a bank account. You see what I'm saying? To get a job, you need an application. So for the most part, it's just like forms of structures and things of that nature that it's trying to correlate in. But for the most part, that's what run this realm of reality. So it may be seen as negative what Earth signs may do, especially with Mars in Earth signs, and particularly with Mars being in Virgo and Capricorn, but particularly right now Capricorn. With Mars being here, a lot of times they may give off negative energies to you. You're like, damn, this person don't give a fuck about nothing. They just using me. Or damn, this person don't give a fuck about nothing but getting to the top. Or damn, this person don't give a fuck about nothing but material. Or damn, this person don't give a fuck about their relationship, that just long as that they can say that they was in a relationship. Or damn, they don't even give a fuck about the feelings of the relationship. They just give a fuck about the kind of status that being in a relationship gives. See, it goes into a lot of different scenarios when we talk about Mars being in Capricorn, but it's always backed and supported by some type of being seen a certain way, being known a certain way, or some type of status, which ultimately can become your career. So try to not get too lost into that realm of reality, and try to learn how to relax and learn that everything is not business. Some things could be personal, some things could be to yourself, and relax and calm down and cool on it, and doesn't have to be too serious. So you know, that's Mars in Capricorn. Now Mars in Aquarius, now this is fixed air, being fixated on its own way of thinking and communicating. So for the most part, this is a person separating themselves from how the collective communicate and analyze. Like as far as Gemini, this is separating themselves from trying to connect with a person on a one-on-one. Like we're more closer than someone else I could be closer with. As far as like the Libra air connection, this is more of I look at everybody the same, and I treat everybody the same as long as everybody treat me the same. My family could be as my friends could be as my family. So that's more of the air like Aquarius right there. So even associates, an associate type nature. So when we talk about fixated air, this is a person who could separate themselves from the collective air, but since they're air, they become the unique air. The air that's like, damn, you air in a hot air balloon. So you go on your own separate way, but you still air, but you just, hey, we gotta look at you. So this is their way of getting attention by being unique and original. But sometimes it be perceived as weird and quirky to others. You know what I'm saying? In different scenarios. But for the most part, when you got Mars here, this is your intent, willpower, passion, motivations, and desires. So off the bat, this is what you push on to your intentions. This is where all your intentions and aggressiveness, and when I say aggressiveness, that's when anybody come into the Mars and Aquarius life and try to block some type of new experience, or try to hinder you from some type of, because you like new technology, you like new social things, you like new awarenesses, you like new concepts. So anytime somebody try to be stupid, a person who is stupid around you is a form of a block or a hindrance. So you would kind of play out similar attributes as the Mars in Sagittarius, or Sun in Sagittarius with a Mars in Aquarius, because a dumb person around you play out as a form of a blockage or a hindrance, because you would start to build up mental cages in your head to feel like, okay, me being around this person will fuck me up in some way, shape, or form, or me being around this person mess up my vibration. And like I said, when we talk about the air and the earth signs and the water and the fire signs, water and fire are right brain. So you have a yin and yang with the right brain, and you have the yin and yang with the left brain. Now when we talk about the left brain, the yang of the left brain will be the air, and the yin of the left brain will be the earth. Now left brain deals with the yang realm and logic. So when we talk about air signs and earth signs, when mainly air signs, when y'all receive feelings, y'all receive it through the mental first. So y'all think y'all feel that way. You see what I'm saying? So however y'all feeling, it goes through the mental first. When we talk about the right brain signs, as far as the fire and the water, when they catch a thought, they think they feel that first. So whatever they receive, it goes through the feelings first. So whatever on their mind is fucked up. It's the feelings. So whatever they thinking is really their feelings, and then the vice versa. It's the air, air and earth, whatever y'all receiving, it goes through the mental first. See what I'm saying? So whatever y'all feeling, it's really what y'all thinking. So y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all not really lost in the feelings, but y'all can get confused and thinking what y'all think is how y'all feel. So you have to make sure you're not doing that. So for the most part, an Aquarius to get, especially a Mars and Aquarius, to get lost in that. Certain things that you think about your intent, willpower, passions, and motivations, you start to think that's how you feel, when really that's just how you think. And when you start to get blinded into thinking that's how you feel, you start to say things that you don't mean, or you may say things ahead of time and burn bridges. When that feeling pass, you start to be like, damn, okay, I really wasn't thinking that way. I don't know why I said that. See, because you got blurred lines to thing right there, you know. And Mars can play out like that with Aquarius. So be careful, y'all, not to think that what y'all thinking is how you feel, because you got to remind yourself, okay, I'm air, so this could be all in the mind. This could be just in the mind. You got to keep saying that when you air, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, with Mars and Aquarius, your intent, willpower, passion, motivation, and desires like to go towards new things, new experience, technology, being smart, having sense, a lot of things. But don't get lost too far into that to the point that you become unrelatable. See, Mars and Aquarius is way more unrelatable and way more separate in a negative way than the Sun in Aquarius, or the Moon in Aquarius, or even the Ascendant in Aquarius for that matter. You know, these people would like to show separateness and don't even like to communicate with others in a way of knowing how to bring people together, even if they're not on the same wavelength as you. With a Mars in Aquarius, you just all out don't even want to deal with people. So you kind of even lack the air quality a lot of times. The air becomes solid when it's Mars and Aquarius. So try not to lose that aspect about yourself, that relativeness aspect about yourself. Now, last but not least, Mars and Mars and motherfucking Pisces. Now, Pisces is mutable water. Being mutable and being able to adapt to its own other people's ways of dealing with the emotions or feelings. So right here, Mars, you know, it's like, it's on its way back home. So, you know, it's like, it's getting ready to put the key in the door and get ready to go back back home and relax. So, you know, it kind of share a lot of energy from fixed water, Scorpio. So it's like it's like just walking through the yard. Like, it ain't something that it want to do or it ain't something that it don't want to do. It's just getting ready to go walk into the house. So, you know, with Mars being in Pisces, this is how it plays out. A lot of your intentions, willpower, passion, motivations, and desires and alternative motives is backed and supported by your dreams or your creativity or your imagination. So it can play out positive and negative. Now, in a positive way is your passions is to express your creativity. A lot of your desires is backed and supported by your dreams and things that you imagine. So a lot of times it works a lot better than Mercury being here, because instead of you not having a way to express yourself and you having to force yourself to find some type of artistic expression to express yourself, with the Mercury being in Pisces. With Mars here, Mars, that's already Mars intentions. You grow up in life already getting into things that's going to help support your dreams and your artistic side, and what you try to bring your imagination out and things of that nature. So you already in that and anytime somebody try to block you, like family or friends try to block you from you going to these type of schools or you going to these type of things that cater to your dreams and things of that nature, then it becomes, you a killer motherfucker with Mars and Pisces right here, because this is really not dealing with logic. So these shapes and forms, if it play as a person, you don't even really look at them as people or as persons. You may still look at them as just a shape and form that's an obstacle in your way. So based upon certain circumstances and situations and other planetary alignments, you may just be in a room, in a quiet room next to somebody else that may just take the shape and form of blocking your obstacles and goals, and you motherfucking kill their ass because of the fucking feelings you was feeling at the time. And you blake out and be like, damn, I don't know what the fuck happened. Your ass know what the fuck happened. But it gets that kind of imaginary right there with Mars and Pisces. So you got to watch that. But for the most part, you know, the good thing about it is a lot of your passions and desires go forcefully to your dreams and forcefully to your imagination, and you actually put yourself in circumstances and manifest yourself in scenarios that you're able to learn how to correlate your abilities to the point that you not start to express yourself in ways that people don't know how you coming across, like if you have Mercury in Pisces or Sagittarius, you know. So yeah, but like I said, it can get very negative when you get lost into that passion. So you could get lost into a form of daydreaming or lost into a form of your imagination, and the moment you could be the type of person, if you got Mars and Pisces, somebody try to wake you up or snap you out of it, you may punch them by accident, you know, you may slap them by accident and shit. They be like, damn, why the fuck you do that? You be like, oh, why you touch me? I know. You know what I'm saying? You might be that type of person. The motherfucker came in and fucked your shit up. Came as a blockage or a hindrance to what you was into. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was imagination, daydream, or whatever. Your ass was passionately into it. And that was a desire. So, you know, anybody come and play a road blockage in, it's going to come out in that way also. You're just going to come out, you're going to take the same shape and form how it came to you. Somebody comes try to snap and wake you up, you go wake their ass up how you wake up. I fucks with y'all though. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all my Mars and Pisces. But yeah, man, that's Mars. That's the Mars through the signs, and I'm gonna go through the Mars through the houses, because that's important also. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn it.